Man, it's been a while since I sat down and have done a Taizai chapter review. I'm sorry about the long wait, but as I promised last week, I said I would start doing Taizai reviews again. I'm finally back up on the horse doing the weekly chapter reviews, so here I am. So anyways, this chapter. Quite a few things happen, a lot of reveals, and the conclusion has the community split. There's a lot of points to discuss. So before I get into the final page, I want to talk about a piece of info that was officially confirmed in this chapter that is definitely going to be very important no matter what happens at the end of this arc, at the finale for Taizai. So as we know, Taizai is going to be ending in a few months. It was said around last year that Taizai was going to be wrapping up sometime around summer, most likely sometime around June, July, maybe August, who really knows, but the series is going to be wrapping up very soon, which is honestly sad, because this is one of the first series I actually ever started reviewing on my channel, so knowing that it's going to be coming to an end in probably 3 to 4 months is a really sad thought. One of the things that was revealed is that Meliodas, despite whatever's going to happen to the Demon King, for instance, if he is defeated, not defeated, whatever, Meliodas is technically gone. Like, he's going to be done with this world. Like, he can no longer stay in the mortal realm. Which basically means that even if Meliodas and Bon are able to drive back the Demon King from out his body and he goes back into purgatory even killed, Meliodas no longer can stay in the mortal realm. He will probably have to retreat into purgatory, which is a very sad thought, because that basically means that even if, okay, hypothetically, Demon King's defeated and then Meliodas frees Elizabeth of her curse, she technically will be able to die, while Meliodas is separated to go off into purgatory to potentially live forever. Because from what we've seen from the Demon King, the man has lived for thousands upon thousands of years without dying in purgatory. So if we can, put that on Meliodas, then Meliodas has a long life ahead of him if Elizabeth only lives maybe 1,000 or so years. So it's pretty sad to think about. I'm really sad, to think about, like, Meliodas will be permanently separated from Elizabeth despite whatever happens, and I do hope that there is some workaround on that to where they could actually be happy. And if we're thinking about what's been established since kind of like the beginning of the reveal of Meliodas and Elizabeth, we know that Elizabeth and Meliodas technically just want to be able to die in peace, like move on, be together, and no longer have to deal with conflict. And we do know that the afterlife has been established in this series. There is an afterlife, there is purgatory, there's a bunch of things. So, when we really think about it, there is a likely possibility that that could potentially be the end. Maybe the only answer that Meliodas has, and Elizabeth has for Meliodas, is that they both decide to go on with their lives, for instance, go to the afterlife to be able to rest in peace. Because, maybe the very power of Meliodas, if he stays in the mortal realm, will actually kill him. That is another possibility, because we don't know the exact details of what would happen if he was to stay in the mortal realm. Like, is he rejected by the mortal realm to where he dies? Or is he, like, does he destroy the world? No, we don't really know those details, but at the very least, we know something is definitely going to happen where Meliodas cannot stay. So if there is a theory that maybe he could actually die if he stays in the realm, then I could see Elizabeth wanting to die alongside of him or something. That's definitely a possibility to kind of conclude their story. But anyways, let's talk about that final page, which has got the community up in arms. And what a chapter to really get back into reviewing Taizai. Like, holy crap. Like, it's been weeks, it's been like 2 months since I've really sat down and reviewed this series, and the first chapter I come back to review is a chapter that has many people calling it fairy tale. Now, do I think it's fairy tale? Not really. Yes, the whole power of friendship is very fairy tale-like, but here's the thing that we all need to remember. Fairy tale, the reason why people don't like power of friendship is because of fairy tale. It overused that concept so many times in every single fight that it just ruined people's impression of power of friendship. And the context of the power of friendship in this chapter isn't exactly the same as what fairy tale does. It's a very different way of going about it, which I respect from Nakaba Sensei. So let me explain. See, in fairy tale, when there's a power of friendship, Natsu or the other characters, they get an unexplained power-up to where they're stronger, and they beat this enemy that's 1,000 times stronger than thanks to just because, power of friendship. But in this case, that's not what happened at the end of this chapter. Meliodas was never fighting a physical battle with the Demon King, his father. He was actually just legit having a mental battle with his father, fighting inside of his mind over the control of the body. That's basically what the entire fight between Meliodas and the Demon King is. And so, in that moment, when the Demon King was talking to Meliodas, he was just doing a mental attack. He was trying to break down his emotions, make him feel despair, to where he would kind of weaken in a way, to where the Demon King would gain control of the body, and Meliodas wouldn't be putting much of a fight up. That's basically what was happening there. And so, when the 7 deadly sins entered inside of, the Demon King's mind and Meliodas' mind to intervene, that was, yes, power of friendship, but not to the same extent. They were just there to reassure Meliodas that, hey, we're all alive, we're not dead, Elizabeth is not dead, we're here, don't freak out too much, beat this Demon King, kick him out of your body, for everything can be settled in the end. That's basically what was happening there. And so the context of this power of friendship is completely different than how Fairy Tail does it. And also, Gowther has been established to be able to mind attack people, get inside of someone's mind, and being able to send everybody into Meliodas' mind to let him know that they're still around makes perfect sense. That's perfect sense. That fits in line with the story that's been established for a long time. It didn't come out of nowhere. Nakaba Sensei didn't just pull something out of his butt to be able to do something. That was not the case whatsoever. So, yeah, I think the final page, I think there's unnecessary hate for it, but it's because of the stigma of Fairy Tail that caused people to really not like that final page, which I can see why, but it's completely different. Anyways, let's talk about the fighting. So, Bon, Meliodas, they're fighting, and it's clear as day after this chapter, even though Bon is incredibly broken, like, holy crap. I mean, just imagine if the man had immortality. Like, just take a moment to think about that. If Bon had immortality still, he would literally be the most broken character in the story. If he had his durability with immortality, with the strength he's showing, he wouldn't die. The only thing that could potentially kill him would be someone ripping his soul out of his body like Scylla did and then devouring his soul. That's the only thing I could see that could technically kill Bon. But after being in purgatory for so long, I don't think that would be really possible to snatch his soul either. So, Bon is technically the most broken character. If he had immortality, no one would compete with him. But this chapter really wanted to show us that Bon, at this point in time, he's pretty much on equal terms with Meliodas. Like, in terms of power and how they are as fighters, this chapter wanted us to show that without Meliodas, Bon wouldn't be doing so good. But if it wasn't for Bon, Meliodas wouldn't be doing so good as well inside the mind. So, it's kind of showing that these two are on equal levels, which has kind of been established since the beginning. That's what these characters are technically about. Bon and Meliodas have always been best friends. They've had some disputes in the past. They've got in fights. They've had, strength fights with, arm wrestling. We know that they do this constantly. And so I think what Nakaba Sensei was trying to show here is that, yes, Bon is very strong, but Meliodas isn't weaker than Bon. Meliodas is probably around the exact same level, maybe a little bit stronger because now he has his Demon King-like powers. But Bon is still technically not the strongest out of the two. But if he did have his immortality, he would be outright broken. Which, by the way, let's talk about what the Demon King did. The Demon King did impel Bon in this chapter, which this is the first time Bon has really ever gotten a wound since the story began, besides, after his immortality, that is actually going to be probably permanent for a while, because he's not going to be able to instantly, regenerate it. It's going to be there, and he got impaled slightly in the chest, which is painful, and it looked like, about that much of his fingers, of the Demon King's fingers, went inside of his chest, which is going to be pretty freaking painful. It's not going to be enough to kill Bon, but for it to go that far in, it says a couple things. Number one, it shows that Bon, once again, he isn't that OP. Like, he's broken, but he's not to the point to where the Demon King is just super weak against him. But at the same time, for the Demon King to only go that far into Bon's chest with his fingers, that does mean that Bon's durability is at a whole other level that is just ridiculous, because the Demon King is technically like a god, and this god was only able to do, like, that much into Bon's chest. That's, saying a lot. But okay, anyways, what else is there really left to talk about? I guess, One little detail I do want to mention is the stuff about King. Since technically I didn't review the last chapter, I do want to talk about in this chapter. King's form has reverted. So we no longer have the King of Rock. He is now back to his kid-like form, which, I want to be honest here. I really like the King of Rock form that King had. I really do like it. It grew on me. I like the design of it. I'm kind of sad that he went back to his kid design. But at the same time, I think Nakaba Sensei's just probably so used to drawing that design. That's why he decided to kind of roll with it. And so this does let us know that that upgraded adult form of King is mainly when he just has magic power to be able to fight back. If he's not running on empty, then he's, in that form. But if he's on empty, then he's going to be in that kid-like form. It's kind of sad, but you know what? It's fine. I mean, I guess we're just sticking to our old designs of characters, and we're not going to be, keeping with the King of Rock King design. But, yeah, that was one of the big things that I did want to talk about. Besides that, I think that's pretty much it. It's a very short chapter, honestly. It's really just a battle chapter showcasing Bond's strength once again, but also the Demon King not really being a complete pushover, and Meliodas being able to put up a fight and then being reassured by his friends not to despair and think that Elizabeth's already dead and it's too late. He got back up and started fighting. So I want to end this video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.